Bear with me, guys. This video is going to be a little bit unstructured, but I'm going to be talking about what's going on in like my business and stuff like that. So I'm going to be talking about sales, about life, business at the same time. And especially if you're someone who is like has your business, but you also have a passion for sales. That's kind of like the dilemma that I have right now. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So right now I'm at the point where I am running my business, but I don't have like a steady, stable cash flow yet, right? So I'm running a marketing agency, and the thing about that is there's a lot of sales involved in that as well. But it's not just that. Like you also need to do the service delivery. You need to get the client results. You need to do actually the marketing, and there's a lot of complexity that comes on top of just the sales. I'm not sure about this, but I believe that getting stable cash flow is harder when you do it SMMA or business or anything. That's a business. I think that's going to be more difficult than anything else, which isn't to say that it's like impossible. Especially if you keep at it. I think you're eventually going to get there if you're motivated and if you give it enough time and you think it through and stuff like that. But the reality is, if you want or need cash flow, some people might achieve it quickly with a business, but I think most people won't. So if you need cash flow, I think it's better to even take a normal job. But if you don't like it at all, you can always consider it like a sales job. And that's like the dilemma that I have right now, because on the one hand, I have my business that I don't want to give up, and I love thinking like an entrepreneur and a business owner. But on the other hand, there's a situation where I want and I need cash flow. So I'm thinking, wouldn't it be cool if I could just get into sales, just get into a sales position, close one call after the other. I don't need to think about delivery. I don't need to think about marketing, finances, or any of that stuff. Just close clients, do meetings, and basically just master one skill and get cash flow. So yeah, I'm thinking that's something cool that I want to try, because I need the cash flow, but also because I like sales and I want to get experience as like a salesperson. Because I don't see myself continuing in SMMA anyway. Like the reason I'm doing SMMA is because it's sales and marketing based, and you need to actually think like an entrepreneur, like a business owner, not just a salesperson. That's why I started this. But the reality is, eventually I want to go to something more similar to communication, more similar to in-person communication, sales and things like that, where it's social skills, cold approach, anything, but more in that direction. So I want to, if I eventually want to reach that type of audience, I think it's good also just for me to get some experience as a salesperson. Because what's going to happen if I just switch business models after, let's say I get my agency to like 30K a month, and I decide I want to switch business models? I could do it. I could definitely do it, but it's probably going to be easier to reach the audience that I want if I already have sales experience. Although, you could definitely also argue that the business skills that you get from the agency will also massively help, if I want to pivot into a different business. So you could see the benefits from both sides. But the conflict I have right now is I need cash flow. So that's the biggest reason. And then also, like, I do like sales, and I do passionate about it, and I do want to switch to that eventually. But the reality is, the biggest reason is that I need cash flow, because I don't want to quit my business. That's like gives me would give me a really bad feeling. But right now, the problem is that I'm thinking I want to kind of dip my toes in the water, or like, how do they say it, right? But I'm thinking like I want to run my business, and then next to that, get some experience as a salesperson. I think that will eventually help me. I can already improve my sales anyway. It's going to help my business anyway. I get the experience as a salesperson, and I get to experience whether I do get a faster cash flow, which could help me. But then the con of that is that I know that it's gonna could be less efficient when I have a split focus, and it might be that way. So that's like kind of the issue that I have about this right now. I'm thinking I want to try it this way for now, doing business on the one hand and sales on the other hand. But eventually, I'm going to want to put my focus into one or the other. And if I choose business and not sales, I think that's going to be the one where I leave the least disappointed. The only disappointments I'm going to have is I'm not going to get the experience as a sales rep. But I'm going to be proud that I'm going to be proud of myself that I actually have run and started a successful business. Like, that's going to be the most proud of myself that I can be. Or I don't know, but I'm definitely going to be proud of that for sure. On the other hand, if I choose to go full-time in sales, it's definitely going to sting a little bit that, I'm going to have to quit that business then. So I don't really like that idea. But, maybe we will see, because the reality is also that I don't want to just spend like 3 years in my room just trying to get my business started and then waiting for cash flow. Like, I want to live, right? So that's why I'm considering sales. And the reality is, if I then master that, I don't just get a good cash flow right away, maybe not right away, but fairly quickly. I can still pivot into business and things like that later on as well. So that's a good route as well, but I think this one is going to sting a little bit if I do choose to go that. But we will see. I think the reality is right now that I do need cash flow, so that's why I'm experiencing both things right now. And I think given the situation that I'm in, it's a good strategy to have. It's good options to have. So that's a great thing. And even if my situation was perfect, I think it would be really cool to just experience what it's like to be in sales. So, it's going to be good. But right now, we're still going to maintain a focus on the business. Also, not fully, but like 50% or potentially even more. But we're going to see. So you see, yeah, guys, that was the video. Let me know if you can relate to this, if you are in a business right now yourself, or maybe considering to get into sales, or maybe you're just a sales rep and you want to start your business. Or let me know how if you relate to this at all. And check out my next video if you want. I will see you guys around. I hope you have a great day. Cheers.